There's a 90% chance that you are exactly like me when you want to start something. If you have this one trait, you're loaded with the potential and the energy to become the success story of your family. The problem is that the internet is oversaturated with ways to make money online. And to tell you the truth, there are hundreds of them. Yet only a few of those have built such big communities like DDM and provide the support and resources needed with so many successful students doing it. By skipping from one thing to another, all you're doing is wasting that potential and hunger that you're feeling every single day. I promise you, if you stick to something for just the next 30 to 60 days, the next 100 days will be life-changing. If you've had enough of jumping around, I recommend you just watch this video I put together here of interviews of me sitting down with people inside of our community that joined me at an in-person mastermind here in Puerto Rico. You can learn about their stories and what they're doing and what they think of this digital revolution. And if you resonate with one of these stories, I recommend you take that leap, you take that jump, and you start this for your future self. So now who I have with me is Mr. Aaron Blei, originated and born all the way from Australia. And one special thing that I just found out about him is that he got 2 tattoos in Bali. One on the left arm says gratitude, another one says kindness. Beautiful traits to have. And now they're on your body forever.
They're definitely on my body forever.
But Aaron is a cool guy because I mean, there's a lot of things about Aaron that I've learned about him during this mastermind that have been amazing, but I want to take the next, 5-10 minutes and share a little bit of his story even and how we got to like this very point right now. So I met Aaron through him joining DDM. Like earlier this year, he joined DDM. He already had a digital product business. He had some experience like doing this stuff. He was making some money and he wanted to ask me some questions. He asked me a couple questions. Mm-hmm. I gave my perspective and he implemented some things and he's doing some cool things with his business now. So first I just want to ask, just so that people know, what do you do right now?
What to do right now? So the main, processes, the main things that I'm doing in my business is, well, in terms of like logistics and stuff.
Or what is your business? Like, what do you do?
What is my business? So we sell templates. It's funny like saying this every time, but we sell templates to fitness coaches.
Yep.
So if you're a fitness coach and you want to save time, you want to save money, you want to save stress, you can basically buy our templates, rebrand it on Canva, and then sell it to your clients, give it away to your clients, or even use it as a lead magnet. So
I love it. I think it's a cool thing. You make good money from it?
Yes, definitely. I didn't think I was going to start with because I was selling like videos and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they weren't really templates.
Yeah.
But I saw someone in the space doing it, and I know they were making like lots of money. Well, like 8 to 10K at least a month. So yeah, I knew there was some profit to be made.
I love it. And now that people can kind of know a little bit about what you do at this current moment, if I rewind to maybe high school, Aaron Blei, were you like in high school, mm-hmm. were you planning to go to college already then? Or did you have any idea what you wanted to do with your life, or you're just going with the flow?
I was sort of going with the flow. It's funny because I actually did think about going to, like we call it university in Australia. And so I did think about going, and I actually did get in, to be honest. I got into doing architecture, but then I pretty much as soon as I got in, I just I'm gonna defer it, which we do in Australia as well, which is where you could basically take some time, not have to do it, but the diploma or whatever's still there if you want to go do that. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I sort of just committed to trying to find something that I was enjoying, like a hobby, and that was fitness. And so I went down the personal trainer route instead.
So you didn't go to uni?
Didn't go to uni.
You graduated high school?
I did graduate high school, just.
Nice. And then you got into personal training like immediately after that, or after your like gap time?
It wasn't too long. Like I think I had a bit of a gap where I worked in like hospitality, working in like the bar, earning some good cash behind the bar, some tips. But yeah, it wasn't too long after that where I became a PT, and yeah. And
as a personal trainer, when you first started, that was like you doing it as like a business, where you like work at a gym where they just get you clients, like they send clients your way. Like how did that work?
It was really tough to start with because different gyms have different ways of doing things, and the gym that I was at, basically it was me just doing all the work. So I had to really hustle a lot at the start to actually get clients, to do my own marketing, to do all that strategic stuff to actually close clients, or get clients and close clients and have them retained. So there's a lot of initial like hard work to be done. And I feel like in other gyms, it's quite easy because they give you clients. So I had to actually do the lead generating myself.
Yeah. That's a skill set in itself. And how long did you do that before you got to a point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore?
So the interim part, like that was like the grind. That was really like a lot of hustle. And I mean, that didn't really stop in the 7 years that I was a coach, because I transitioned into, like, I was face-to-face, and then I transitioned to creating a business online, which was quite profitable. And that's where I really wanted to be, was just like separating myself through COVID. That was like a perfect time to be like, look, I'm gonna commit myself to getting rid of all my like face-to-face clients next month. And I did that. And then that following month I made like, I don't know what it was, but I made my highest revenue month, highest income month to date. So I was like, okay.
Online coaching. Online training.
So I was like, okay, the online space is like where I need to be. Much more accessible, much more time, much more income. And then, I don't know, there was a point where I just, along the line, I think it was like a couple of years after that, where, I don't know, I just sort of fell out of passion with that and decided to do a couple other things. And then, yeah, like the digital e-commerce stuff, that really started as like a side project. Like I was keen just to like do something on the side, as you sort of do, and make some passive income. And then, yeah, that sort of took off for me last year. Yeah, 2023.
So essentially you created an online business that was like a side thing at first, but it's something that like you knew the problems because you were doing training before. So you know the same thing that these coaches were experiencing. And is that how you thought about it? Or it just kind of like slowly went up? Because I know you make your own products.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think I brought this up on our last interview, but how, like, so it's like full circle. So currently, or just recently, I brought on a business partner, and the business partner is actually someone who worked with me to start with in my coaching business. So I signed him on as a coach, paid him as a contractor, and then I couldn't pay him anymore just because like logistically it didn't work out. And so I ended up like letting him go. We kept the friendship. And he wanted me to help him build his own coaching business. So he paid me some money. I helped him like with all the leads and how to like do sales and stuff. And like, I think it was like 3 years later, he comes to me and he's like, you got those videos like you filmed a while ago, like for your own business? I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, can I buy some? I was like, okay, this is cool. So I did. I branded them for him. I sent them to him. It was like $400 Australian dollars. And then I was like, oh, okay, let me chuck these on like a website or like Etsy or something like that. And then that's how it really started in that space, like selling something that could be a product where I didn't have to do like any work. I could do the upfront work and then everything else was passive after that. That was the initial thing. So like I said, full circle, he was the one that bought my first product and now he's now working with me. So
it's crazy how life works.
Yeah.
Did you think when you were like younger or teenager or anything, did you think you would own a business? Is that what you wanted to do?
Nah. I've always been like left field, like the black sheep. So I think there's always going to be some sort of like indication of doing something different. And I think my family always think like, I don't even know what they think at the moment. I'm just traveling the world and like, just like my hair's crazy. And like, just so I guess I sent them some videos of me flipping off the yacht today and they're just like, you're just living life. It's like crazy to see. But I guess like, yeah, I always knew I was going to be doing something different, but not necessarily like digital products. I think that really came into, like I was watching your stuff, your content on YouTube. And I was actually, before starting a digital e-com business, I was going to start a dropshipping business, like physical products. And I didn't go that route, obviously. But yeah, watching your content and stuff online sort of gave me like a different view on, well, scalability and doing something that you could sort of, well, having something that you could have that doesn't require a lot of your time or a lot of investment in different ways, like products and fulfillment. Yeah.
I'm glad you did, because we wouldn't be here if that didn't happen.
We definitely wouldn't be here.
But I think what you're doing is very cool, because you've built a cool business with high margins. You have a vision for it, I believe. I think you're going to do big things with this and other things even outside of that. But like your lifestyle, you've created this in a way where like you're using this and it funds your lifestyle and these things that you want to do. So is there any specific reason, like why do you do it every day? Like why do you keep it going? Is there something deeper than just like, I'll make money from it?
I think for me, it's not necessarily about money. It's like the freedom aspect. Like, yes, obviously money buys that in a way, but like having, like to be honest, don't feel like I need a lot to live the lifestyle I'm living. Like I need a certain amount to be able to live that. But like for me, the most important, the highest priority I have right now is experience. Like travel is a beautiful way to experience things and have that freedom to be able to do so. So like waking up in the morning, deciding if I want to do some work or whether that be in the afternoon instead, but having like majority of the part of the day doing some form of experience. So I actually forgot your question.
No, that answers my question. Yeah, because I was just asking like, why are you doing it every day? And experience and freedom.
Those are the biggest drivers.
I take from it.
Yeah,
maybe definitely. Those are the next 2 tattoos.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like, I mean, that's very ingrained in my soul in a way, I feel like. But, you know, and I think that other things outside that is like, as most people do, and probably yourself, like trying to support your family and give them the best life. Obviously, I'm the most important person in my life and I have to be. But, you know, being able to do things for them and being able to do things for the people around me is quite important, I feel like, for me. Like I want to be doing it for things outside myself and not let like, you know, the ego sort of like take over and have to impress people. I want to be like, we've had the conversation over the last couple of days, is be able to do it for a different intention. Yeah.
Well, I think you're doing it already.
Thanks,
and
bro.
you're gonna continue doing it. So I'm glad you came here. Can I ask a couple quick questions like about the mastermind so far?
Yeah.
How much do you pay for the mastermind?
How much did I pay? I think it was like 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't even bother to convert that into Australian, but 2K, 2K US.
So far, you've been here like 2 days. Worth it? Not worth it?
I believe like purely and intentionally like having people around you like Daniel is like, and yourself and everyone else here, but like having like influential people and just being able to like learn at least one thing that makes it so much, like it makes it worth it. So for me, like it was, as you know, you like messaged me a couple of times, like you coming. And I was just like kept putting it off because I knew in the grand scheme of things, like 2K for me on my travels, which in my head I know is around 3K Australian, could allow me to probably travel to maybe like 2 or 3 cities. But I was like, at the time, I was like, I mean, this dude's doing like, he's living the life that I'm living majority, but the income that I want is definitely not where I'm at. Like I want obviously to achieve high income goals. And I'm not going to get that just traveling and doing what I need, like doing that stuff. I need to be integrating myself amongst a better environment. So I was like, one day I was like, I don't know if I can swear on camera.
Of course.
Like, fuck it, and just message you. And I was like, I'm doing it and I'm biting the bullet. And money is money and it's always going to come and go. But it's the intention you put behind it and the energy you put behind it. If it's a worthwhile investment, as Daniel would say, it's like pissing it up against the wall. It's not going to do too much, you know, buying things to impress people. But things like this where I've met some people here that I know will be strong connections into the future as well. And I feel like, I mean, I got Daniel's contact yesterday. I was like he's, I mean, I'm not going to like abuse that, but like having people in your life that if there is a scenario that you can go to, that like it's priceless. Right?
Absolutely. It's a great mentor to have, friend to have, and just like person on your side in general. So I think this kind of mixes like travels and experience and like everything there in between it. And, you know, I am glad you came because I remember we were on the email thread and I remember one night, like, I think it was late my time here. Maybe it was like midnight or 1 a.m. or something.
Yeah, you said you woke up in like the morning or something like that.
Yeah, like you're like, and I saw you're like, I'm in, bro. And I was like, yes. And I like said I was like, thank God I'm up. I was about to go to sleep. And I mean, it felt at that moment, it felt like, as cliche as it sounds, like it felt meant to be. I was like, Aaron's actually going to be here. And that just made me excited. But
amazing.
I mean, I'm glad you're here, bro. And the relationship, and I know I'll see you again in whatever setting it is. So thanks for being here, bro. And thank you for your time.
Amazing, bro. Thank you.
Maybe next time in Australia.
Yeah, come down under. We'll fight some kangaroos.
Okay, ahora estoy aquí con Candy para una entrevista en English. Unfortunately, my Spanish is not good enough for us to do this whole thing in Spanish, but I have a very special person with me right now, which is Karina, aka Candy, from
Mexico.
Soy de Mexico.
Soy de Mexico.
Candy I've known for a couple of years now because, well, actually almost a year since you joined DDM, and you came in there and you're very active in the community doing calls and things like that. And I just knew that like Candy's like a very like good person to be around. She's very happy. She's good energy, good person, and also good business person, businesswoman. And I want you, just before we dive into anything else, if you could just like share with someone seeing this right now, what do you do?
Okay, right now I sell digital products. I'm selling a course teaching small business how they can create their own Shopify store and how they can sell their products through Facebook and Instagram ads.
In English or Spanish?
In Spanish.
But that's not the only special part. Candy is not just someone who is like, I'm gonna make digital products about starting a Shopify store. We're gonna talk about it a little bit, but for me, what's been very like momental in like understanding your story is seeing these pictures of you with your own store that you started, your jewelry company, and seeing these pictures of you like years and years ago when you first started it at these like trade shows, would you call them, or other things, and like you making this jewelry. So I'm kind of like stealing the story a little bit there, but that's just like what I remember the most. And it's like, this person, this is legit. Like if I spoke Spanish and I needed some help with that, like I would go here and get her product. So you guys can find her stuff if you speak Spanish. And anyways, can you tell me like what made you want to create the digital products to begin with?
Okay, because some of the people that was buying my stuff or following me on Instagram start asking me like, how do you do that? Like I want to do the same for my store. So in 2020, when I start growing my brand, I had a lot of time. So I was, okay, I'm going to record myself creating a store and teaching that. That's how it goes.
So what were you, or when did you start the original jewelry brand?
As a hobby, I started 16 years ago.
And that was something that you just did because like you had an idea to start a business for a long time? Or like, what even got you to that point? I'm just trying to understand a little bit more of like very young Karina, like teenager. Did you even have, you had an idea to start a business or?
No, not at all. It was because I want to create something for myself that makes me feel like it's part of my brand. Because when you have 15, you want to be different to the other people. So I wanted something that makes me feel different, but at the same time, combine two things that I like, which are crafts and desserts. So yeah.
Crafts and desserts.
Yes.
So explain like what happened? How did that merge? Like what was the result? What did you make?
At the time, I thought like, wow, I cannot make a donut necklace. Like I cannot find anything like I wanted on stores. So my mom took me to a craft show and they teach me how to handle this kind of polymer clay. So then I started like, okay, I can make the shape of donuts. And then I start doing that till today that my best seller product, it's a custom name with the letters made in shape of donuts. So yeah.
And you make it all with your hands?
Yes.
So it's like very special pieces.
Yes.
And you still sell them now?
Yes.
I've seen them before. They're very beautiful. If I was a woman, I would wear them. Even now I'm considering it. But like, how many years did you do that before you decided to start selling online?
I think because I was at school at the time. So when I graduate, I say like, okay, what I want to do with my life now. So I start taking serious my business. So I create my business. Now I left the hobby. But first I took the route of traditional things like markets, selling on wholesale. And then I was like, no, I want to really sell my products through an e-commerce store. But by the time in Mexico, there was not common to buy things online. So when the pandemic hit, when it was peak on my sales, because I was already selling products on my store. So that time took me like 5 years between markets and starting my business online.
And it was a game changer?
it was a game changer, yes.
Did you completely stop selling like in person?
Yes, actually, the beginning of 2020, I stopped selling wholesale because I was like, no, I'm going to make more money if I sell direct to my customer.
And how does it feel now that you know that you're helping other people who are in similar positions figure out like this magical thing of like being able to sell their things online? Like, how does it feel whenever someone like joins one of your products and then you're like, oh my gosh, Candy, like I just did this, I got a sale.
It feels amazing. And I love to hear the story of my students when they say, you completely changed my life. Now I can work from home, stay with my kids, or have more time. People like to travel to Disney. I don't know why after taking my course, but I feel like really happy for them.
I think that's very special. What is maybe one thing that people probably don't know about you that you think is important for people to know? What's one thing they should know about Candy that's important?
Okay, that I'm really passionate about e-commerce. Like, I love it so much that I'm learning every day. And people think like, oh, she maybe learned from, I don't know, a course from somebody else. But no, it's my experience and my knowledge that I'm putting on teaching other people.
That's very cool. And I guess one thing that I would ask is, how long have you been selling your digital products for?
Okay, I started in 2020, but honestly, I didn't put so many effort until 2021 when I took my store to almost bankruptcy. So what helps me to not put, the weight of my personal expenses was selling my course. So while I was selling the course, I could save my company because the sales were like growing, but my expenses were paid by my course. So on that time, I took it seriously. And here we are.
I think it's really cool because you have these skill sets that you developed over your own experience, your own journey. I advise everybody who's like curious about it, go look at her Instagram and see like these pictures of her doing this for such a long time. And just knowing that like she's a credible, trustworthy person to follow and look at if like you're in that similar space and looking for someone to listen to that's actually done it and gotten results from it. So one more question I'll ask on this topic really is just, what is one thing that you really want to do over the next couple of years, let's say, with your community and everything you do?
Okay, basically, I want to grow my community because right now it's just my students can reach me, but they don't have like contact with other people. I want to start growing that community because right now I'm seeing the power that has to build a community. And I don't know, I think that it's my primary goal.
Maybe a Candy Mastermind.
Yes, probably in Paris.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would go.
You will go?
If men are allowed, I would go.
Yeah, let's do it.
But make sure you guys go follow Candy. Go check her out. She has a very interesting, unique story, and she's just an awesome person and friend to have.
Thank you.
So, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me for a second time.
Absolutely. Could I ask a couple of quick questions about the Mastermind?
Yes, of course.
So Candy actually won a giveaway we did earlier this year. I was like, I had this idea to do a mastermind. I wanted to get people together. I wanted to do something like this, but I was like, before I like make this a big thing and like have people pay money and do all this, I'm like, let's do a giveaway for people who are already inside of DDN that are students, and let's do a little challenge. And Candy ended up winning that challenge. And in February, we flew her in from Mexico. We put her in La Concha, the resort there on the beach. And we basically just spent 2 days together, kind of like this. But instead of it being a lot of people, almost 20 people total, it was me, Justin, Candy, and then Jay had won second place for that giveaway challenge. And he came and hung out with us as well. So for this mastermind, it's a little different. How much did you pay for this to be here?
$2,000.
Is it worth it?
Totally worth it.
And have you been to like other masterminds before like this?
No, I have a funny story because when I won the first mastermind. I was really excited, but then I asked a friend like, okay, what's a mastermind? Because I don't know what it is. I just won.
That's funny. I don't really know what it is either, to be fair.
Okay.
I think of it as just being like with a group of like-minded people, like on a similar mission, doing like somewhat similar things in the market. And that's why I'm here, and that's why you're here.
Yes.
So with this mastermind here in Puerto Rico, for the second time this year, and this one being more people and a little bit of a different scenario, what's been maybe one of the most special moments or thoughtful moments you've had so far?
Okay. I feel, first of all, the energy that the houses has. Like everybody is focused on their stores. That makes me feel like I want to do more things. Like I cannot wait to start working on my computer. And the second thing is I won $500 because yes, true. I'm a lucky girl over here.
Yeah. Earlier today, maybe you were doing it on purpose, like holding up.
No, I was not.
We were on the yacht earlier, and Candy was on the side of the yacht, like she didn't really want to jump off. Daniel offered $500 if you jump, and she ended up jumping.
But I learned, yes, I learned a very important lesson that I'm keeping from this trip that Daniel taught me, because I wanted to do it, but I was so scared and I had some kind of analysis paralysis where I overthink the things. And he told me like, this is a life lesson, because in business it's the same. You want to grow, you want to jump, but at the same time you can, but surrounded by the right people, you do it. So.
And that's what happened.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited to see everything else you're going to do and just growing the things you're already doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is We Wins.
Pretty close.
We Wins.
Yes.
How would you say it though?
We wing.
We wang. Okay. I'm still learning, but I'm trying to learn something new every day. And nonetheless, this is an amazing guy right here. Now, we met not at this mastermind, not originally because he joined DDM, but because earlier this year, just like Aaron Phell, I got invited to this little mastermind. I'm on the boat. I'm meeting amazing people. I met Aaron. I met We. So I didn't actually meet We because he joined DDM initially. It was because another mastermind earlier this year, I was on a boat and I was meeting these amazing people. I met Aaron Phell and I met We. And after the mastermind on this boat, he ended up joining DDM. And I got to learn a little bit more about like what he's all about, what he's interested in, what he does business-wise. And now over the last probably 6 months or more, you know, I've been able to know him, and not just as like, oh, he's in DDM and he's a person I met, but he's a friend. Like we actually have a relationship in that sense, and that's been very valuable to me. But before we go any further, I want you to just tell the people, they know your name, We, but what do you do?
So I mainly resell electronics, brand name. If you think about Amazon FBA, people would sell water bottles, Fijis, anything that's like already on the shelf from other retailers. Except I mainly focus on consumer electronics, but it's B2B. So there's no mediator, there's no one taking my fees. It's just straight one pipeline, pretty much.
And when you first told this to me, at first I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand this. So if someone else is maybe thinking that, like how I was at first, like you're doing this and you're making money off of each sale that way?
So there's kind of more to it, because I also learned a skill like a couple years ago, and that was credit. So I learned about credit a couple years ago, and I connected to what I was doing. So basically, the electronic side is a volume game. It's low percentages, like sometimes 1 to 3, if you're lucky 5. But if you understand more about credit, you can increase your capital, and as well as, you know, game the rewards on that. That makes it more profitable. And that was the main issue with how I started. I didn't have a lot of capital. I used a debit card. I was young. Yeah, it goes back to credit enabling my business to grow.
So which benefits are better? Like that like kind of more nerdy back end or the front end?
Well, it all started with the front end, but the nerdy back end kind of carried the whole business.
But that's what I think is so interesting, because me hearing these things, even to me now, I'm like, it's still kind of like a foreign concept to my mind. But I'm just seeing the outcomes. I'm looking at Wee's Instagram stories since I first followed him after this yacht, and he's like, I just booked my family like $50,000 in flights with like these points, or he was traveling around for a while, like a few months, I feel like, all around the world. Like, shit, this guy's like, this is awesome. Like, you know, like envying someone in a positive way is like what I was doing. I was like, this is dope. And so now, like, that's also something that you're showing other people how to do, right? You have an offer for that?
So it's more of a back-end offer. It's like if anyone kind of asks me for it, and as well as anyone who is in the electronics reselling space, as I am, if they're even my student and they want to learn more on how they could maximize their points, essentially. Basically, they already know how to generate the points, and that's like the main factor of travel hacking, traveling for free. It's like teaching someone how to make $100,000 versus saving $100,000 when they only could make $30,000 a year. That's something I love helping people on about.
But you're helping people also like generate the points as well, like learn ways to generate their points.
So when they're spending for electronics, they can either optimize their strategy to profit on cash or points. So it depends on like, hey, I got a trip coming next year. I'm taking X amount of people and myself. Then they'll just focus more on points for like a month or two just to cover enough for the trip. And mainly when you travel is flights, hotels, car rentals, maybe. But that's the main cost of travel, pretty much.
I feel like it's a dream for a lot of people.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, I think it's a really cool thing. But I just want to rewind for a second, because I'm also curious to know, where are you originally from?
So I was born in Vietnam, and I came over to the U.S. when I was 7. I mainly lived in Florida since I was 9.
And what would you say is like your upbringing, like middle class, upper class?
So I guess this is a story I always tell people when they ask me, like, growing up, we really didn't have a lot of things. We lived in the countryside, pretty much like the countryside that had barely any infrastructure. The roads are pretty much dirt and mud. And my house wasn't even like houses built with bricks or anything, just bamboo woods and like leaves as a roof. And then that's my upbringing. But not only that, I kind of faced the duality of struggle when I came over to the US. My parents came over with $300. They were sponsored by my grandpa, who was a refugee of the war. And I saw like how hard my parents worked. And that's something like I kind of like grew up with. And that kind of taught me to not be a burden to my parents and just kind of find something I could do to take the stress, take the struggle off their plate. And that's where I got into like my mode of entrepreneurship, trying to find ways to make money. And that's where I actually like watched videos of Tanner. We're kind of the same age, so you kind of started your journey young as well, but you documented it and it was beneficial, it was helpful. I tried that dropshipping model with the free plus shipping. Mm-hmm. Never worked. I didn't work because it got too like saturated. But yeah, that's the story.
That's huge though. Like instilling that work ethic. Like some people would look at that as a negative, like, oh my gosh, they came here $300, they're having to work hard and this and that. But realistically, like, I'm sure that's not like an easy time or easy thing to go through. But in this case, I'm sure they wanted like a good life for you that in a way, that's kind of like a side effect in a good way, that you got to see that and experience that and learn how to like instill these values that a lot of people our age also don't have.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, I don't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was saying a lot of kids who has like these struggles, they tend to be more like, I wouldn't say like more successful, but they have some sort of a harder why they're doing what they're doing versus someone who has no struggle. So like they kind of turn to drugs and stuff. Whereas our struggle, we kind of turn to like, all right, how can I upbring my life, my family's life and stuff like that?
and like more independent, I feel like most times, because they see it and learn like what that's like. But was there like, I'm just curious now, like how did you even get here? Like you finished high school?
Yep.
You went to university?
So yeah, I finished high school, went to UCF, studied biology. I wasn't really like passionate about it.
What was the first side hustle though?
Oh, my side hustle started off again with dropshipping, didn't work out. And then I started reselling sneakers, hype products, Supreme, stuff like that. And then the final one was electronics, and that was like the permanent thing so
it's
far.
Not even that long ago, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years, 6 years of that.
You feel like you've come a long way?
For sure.
What do your parents think of this?
They think it's good that I'm doing what I'm doing, but it's better to have security in their eyes. They just, it's not like out of ill intention. It's more of like being parents and wanting your kids to not ever fail.
Fear
I
of
guess.
your well-being.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think you're up to something special. I think you're just a cool guy as it is, because you're like innovative on your own. Like one thing that stuck with me earlier, like we were talking about the like coaching program and being a part of it, and you asked me about like, will I be able to learn like systems and integration and these specific things? And like before I could even really get my full answer out, you said like I don't need someone to like you don't have to show every little thing. Just put me in the right direction, and like I'm resourceful as it is. And I think that is that's just something that stuck in my head when you said that, because it's something that is important. I don't want you to like feel like you have to be that way if like we're working together.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
just even having that as it is shows me you're going to be successful, whether it's because of something that I say that helps you right now or not, because maybe I help you with something right now, but like it doesn't matter, because you're gonna find a way no matter what. And I want people, like anybody that's interested in any of these topics that we've talked about, like I want them to follow you. I don't like, if you find it interesting, go talk to him. He'll have a conversation with you. If it's something that he thinks he can help you with, genuinely, he'll tell you that. And you shouldn't like doubt to take that risk and invest into what he can help you with, because whatever he says it is, I know it's gonna be true. Like I'll back it myself. I think I'm a cool guy.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I mean, I guess when I mentioned that, it came from a place of like not wanting to burden someone, I guess. And as like someone who like helps people, gives them advice, sometimes a lot of people just expect answers without doing the work or like the due diligence or research to kind of like understand at least before they want to ask something. They just want to ask like the most basic thing and expect their life to change pretty much.
That's huge.
And not one person can help them do all of that unless they kind of help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, that's huge, bro. That is a big, and you're like nail on the head. A lot of people don't think about it that way. From like, I still act from a student perspective, and like things that I invest in, or when I'm talking to people that I learn from and mentors, I have to think in that student perspective. And every single time, like I have to make sure, like, because sometimes I catch myself like going to ask, let's say like Daniel, if you know him now, it's an easy example. Like he's been helping with like a real estate deal. And sometimes I'll like think of some, like in his process, I've thought of something that I want to ask him, but then I'll like type it out and be like, shit, I should just take 5 minutes and like, I can figure this out myself. And I don't want to seem like a dumbass to him. And I think that's helped me. And I think you do like this same things, which in the end works out like better for everybody. But where, if people are interested in any of this stuff, where should they go? Instagram, somewhere else?
I'm mainly active on Instagram. It's, if I can give my handle, it's @credithuy, HUY.
Yep. Perfect. Go give him a follow. Even if you don't like electronic selling and credit and traveling the world, spend money, you need to go follow him, because he's just like always walking around with his camera. He's vlogging. You can like spend a day with we. That's a cool thing to do. Now, how's the mastermind been?
So even on the first day, I kind of told them like, whoa, this kind of blew past my expectation, because what I saw was a person that wasn't like an opportunist. So it's someone who respects their brand, who's prideful, and who is willing to put everything back. Like I sat down, well, I didn't even sit down. I kind of did mental math and was like, all right, this guy's collecting $2,000. There's like 14 people. It's 28 grand, but he already spent half of it on an Airbnb. And not only that, there's 2 speakers, 2 important people. Well, probably like one of the most important people in his life that he brought here and had them speak and spill game, as well as spill his own game in a way that most people didn't like understand or actually see how crazy it was when he like spilled the game, pretty much. I saw that, it connected to me, and I just was like super surprised. And that's the best way I could put it. That's the type of person Tanner is. And sometimes it's a gut feeling when you meet someone, and thankfully it's been right. Tanner is just someone who morally aligns with me, values-wise as well. So this is why like I respect him and I appreciate his work.
Thank you, bro. Hopefully nothing will change after this.
Yes, sir.
Now, I am with Aiden Miller.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
All the way from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, pretty far from here.
To Fajardo, Puerto Rico. You ever been here before?
Never been anywhere around the East Coast, islands, anywhere like that. I've been to like California and like Cabo, Mexico, but I don't even think I've been outside like territory like that. So this is very new, like being overseas like that.
Well, I'm glad you're here, bro. How old are you?
19 years old.
And you're in college,
No.
high school, just for the people to know?
I graduated high school in 2023 in May, and then ever since it's been out of school, no college, just trying to take my own route.
So most people your age obviously are doing a different thing. They're not taking a risk to come all the way to Puerto Rico and spend money to like be in an environment like this. Like they might be in some big houses, but maybe it's like a frat house or something. Maybe they're partying, maybe they're doing other things. I don't know what they do in Ohio. I've never been, but you're doing something that most of them aren't. So I'm trying to figure out, why are you here?
So honestly, I mean, that exactly, you know, what everyone else is doing. And after a while, just, I mean, maybe it's the pandemic, maybe it's just always being in my room, but I just wanted to think differently and wanted more for myself rather than what's normal. You know, everyone else my age is going to think like, oh, look at big things like, oh, big frat house, like you just said, let me go to college, and then not realize they're spending 4 years of their life for a degree, but they're really just going to party and follow the crowd. And like, I would literally feel like gut-wrenching guilt if I followed the crowd, whether I was successful or not. That's just mediocre lifestyle. And this is something, I mean, my friend Ethan that went to the same school as me put me on to Tanner. And ever since, I've just been interested in that almost other side of that life. Like, how do people like you get to that wealth, but like financial freedom in a way where it's like, not comfort where it kills you, but comfort where you're like able to support your family without having to like go through school, stay up all night studying, study for a test. I mean, that just sounds like anxiety, going to school and all that. And like, it's crazy how people will just follow the crowd and they think that's the easier route. In reality, all you have to do is challenge your mind. And that's exactly why I came here. It challenges my mind to want more and learn, and that's the biggest thing, knowledge, just gaining knowledge from this, from someone like you, for sure.
Well, I'm glad you're here, bro.
Thank you.
And you're doing that. And do you think for you, you know, talking about like having a certain level of comfort, which just gives you the ability for certain freedoms, taking care of people you care about, for you, is there a certain number you have in mind that's like, if I make this much a month, that will get me there first?
I mean, there's numbers you can think of. You can think of like 10,000 a month, 30,000 a month, maybe getting into bigger figures, 100,000 a month. But I mean, I feel like it's kind of overwhelming to think like from nothing to big, and just trying to just achieve financial freedom at the least. I mean, whether that's a millionaire or, you know, just not having to pay things that you need but would harm your pockets in a way where it's like you kind of have to settle for, you know, things you need to live. Like, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck and have to worry about, oh, I can't get groceries this week, or, oh, I can't go buy a t-shirt when I have no clothes or underwear. Like, I want to just be financially free. And, you know, at that point, it's just about evolving that every day. I think everybody should live to be better than they were yesterday. And the reality is a lot of people don't do that. They just want to have fun. And I mean, again, I don't know if it's a pandemic or what, but just seeing that other lifestyle and the more you can do, I mean, that just like lights a fire within you for sure, to just have more desire and then put that to action. And a lot of people don't want to do that because, again, too much brain power. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's any secret that like you do have that desire. Obviously, that's why we're here, like you said, to challenge your mind and being part of other things we're doing and like wanting to learn and start businesses and do things that can benefit you not just right now, but for a long period of time. And you're also learning these skill sets at the same time. But I'm just curious, like for you at the age you're at now, is this something that happened over the last couple of years maybe where you kind of had this shift, or has it been something you've thought about before?
Honestly, since I was like 8 years old, I've always wanted to be like big entrepreneur. Like I mean, my mom caught the law of exposure. Once you're exposed to something, you can't be unexposed. And she took me to a bunch of like nice places, the 5-star hotels, vacations, all this. Even if she didn't have that money, she just wanted to show me all this. And my aunt too, my aunt's in a lot of churches where wealthy people are there and they're welcoming her into their home. Like maybe it's a guys who owns a construction business in a mansion off a cliff in California. And like just being there at such a young age and seeing that lifestyle, like there's people like you, and then there's people like who like own multiple companies, and you just can't comprehend that at such a young age. And I mean, being 19 now, I might feel young still, but being in that position when I was so young then and seeing all that, it's like, you can't just go to sleep and be like, oh, let me go to school the next day.
So is that a position you want to be in?
100%. That's the desire.
Do you think you're going to be someone who's like starts and then hits a target and you're just like, it's never going to be enough? Like you want to build the biggest thing?
Yeah, 100%. Just always seeking evolution. That's the goal. But how to get there though, I mean, that's that other side you always question. You know, it's like you stay up late at night wondering like how you can do that, almost why me, but like, you know, you make it seem easy, and then that's why a lot of people want to reach out to you, DM you all the time, like, yo, how can I do this? Can you help me? But I always knew it was never about like someone holding your hand. It was just like the method. And I mean, understanding that from you is really the biggest thing. And from that point, just trying to combine that new knowledge with like, how can I expand my lifestyle? How can I evolve my life? And from that point, helping other people, like my mom, you know, giving back to her, that's the biggest goal. And then so on and so on. Just forever expanding on that, but for sure.
And when you say like method, you're talking about kind of like the vehicle, like the...
Yeah.
I see. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just a huge inspiration seeing someone like you, like buying your mom a car, and then like a bunch of other goals, being able to support yourself financially and then support your family. I mean, that must be amazing, fulfilling it.
Well, I'll ask you this question. Like, do you feel like you're on that path? Like you're on that way?
From where I was, yeah. But I mean, it's tough, you know, like you compare yourself with people like you, it's like, it's so insignificant. And I mean, it's still good to compare like where I was, but again, always trying to be better than I was yesterday. Mm-hmm. So
I think it's naturally humans are gonna always, even if we don't want to, naturally, like somehow, some way, we're gonna compare to someone else or something else. But what you said is the most important.
Yeah.
Like versus if I'm doing better today than I was yesterday, or a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, then that's ultimately the most important thing. Just like how you answered, like based on what I was doing before, this is more on the right path. And I know it maybe doesn't feel like it because I feel like I was just like your age a few years ago. Well, I was your age a few years ago.
Yeah.
And time goes by fast, but you can get so much shit done in that time period. And I feel like you're purposefully accelerating, like you're quantum leaping in certain ways. Like, I mean, coming here and being around these people, meeting a lot of people that could be a part of this. But for people that are watching right now, if maybe they're watching this, like, yo, this guy Aiden, he's maybe around the same age I am. He's saying a lot of things that kind of resonate with me. This is interesting. Like, how could I keep up with his journey? Is like, does he post his stuff? Like, can people follow you somewhere?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. I have a personal Instagram at Aiden Miller, but I'm also working on a new personal brand called Millie Mentality. So just got to keep that up. But I document my life on my personal Instagram, but on my mentality Instagram, I'm just giving out like these things I said that resonate with people. I speak these things to my own family, my friends all the time, Ethan. But I mean, it's just about, like you said, you can get a lot done in that time frame. You can also waste a lot of time. And like, I could have been doing this at like 17, 16. And like that thought of like the years just going by like that, I mean, it's never going to end. I hear it from all these other people. My brother is 23, almost 24. I mean, he could tell me like he feels like he wasted a bunch of years of his life. And it's like, at the end of the day, you don't want to feel like looking back, oh, how'd that go by? Like slipped out of your hand. You want to feel so in control of your life, you can not only help yourself, but other people. And it's like, again, the other side, and like, there's no shortcuts to that at all. I mean, Tom Brady was the biggest inspiration to me sports-wise, besides LeBron. Mentality-wise, like when his retirement speech really resonated with me. And like, that's a good example of that. There's no shortcuts to anything. And knowing that and like really feeling that in your heart and gut makes you like want to grind because you know you have no other option. Mm-hmm. But then it's more so like, what do you start on? How do you begin? I think that's the hardest thing for anyone, no matter if you're in the digital dropshipping niche or you're selling clothes. You have to start the most like desired you have from day one. It has to be concurrent throughout the whole process. And I mean, the biggest thing for me right now is like burnout and like seeing someone like you who does it every single day. You're waking up at 6 a.m., going to the gym, documenting yourself, going on runs. I mean, like even those little things that don't make you money, but give you power, you know, that's inspirational. And then you look at the other things you do, like you go on calls, selling different stores, selling different products. You know, sometimes I see you like doing speeches in front of people. It's like you go from that point to where you were only like 4 years ago, partying, doing all this stuff. And it's like everybody almost like has that feeling like they want to go party and all this, and then they get no fulfillment out of that. And then you see like how you're financially stable from doing these hard things. And it's like, it's that attachment feeling. Like you just want to be a part of that.
You're becoming the person that's worthy of the results at the end of the day. And that's something that I had to focus on a lot. I still focus on. I think it's something you're focusing on, even if you don't think about it that way. And it's just a matter of time. I see it in different people, and you're doing something that 99.999% of people your age aren't doing. And because of that, you're going to get the results that 99.9999% don't get. You're going to experience things that they don't see. Like, I mean, even just being here has been awesome. So I'm excited for you, bro. I really am. And
yes, sir. I hope so. No
matter the time, the duration, the difficulty, it's all going to be worth it. And we'll have like an update on this.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, just following you ever since 2022. I think July 2022 is when I first found about Tanner. And I mean, seeing his journey then from where he started, even then was an inspiration. But seeing his own personal journey from being then to now is like huge. And then you compare now to 4 years ago is even huger. And that's that evolution I see right there. I've seen people like Tony Robbins, David Goggins. If you want to be controversial, Andrew Tate. I mean, all these huge influencers all have that same path. And I see in you someone who's only 22. And it's insane, honestly. I mean, you're still very young. And that's just the goal. That's the desire. And this hoodie right here says that consistency wins. So just trying to apply that to my life every day now. So.
Oh, yeah, bro. Hey, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Is it okay if I ask like a couple quick questions about the mastermind?
Yeah, 100%.
So how much did you pay to be here?
$2,000 U.S. currency.
Was that an uncomfortable amount?
Very uncomfortable amount.
What made you make the decision then?
Just thinking, again, knowledge is power. And I mean, my parents, my friends even were like, dude, $2,000, dude, this guy's scamming you, whatever, this, that. But like, you think of like colleges, how much you pay for tuition a year, you think on average? Like what, 20,000, 50,000?
10, 20, 30?
A year.
More than 2,000.
Yeah, a year. Four times at minimum. You know, some people take 2-year courses, some people take 6-year courses, some people take 12-year courses to be doctors. So $2,000 to get such a huge insight of information is nothing if you think of it that way. But
So you feel like you learn more from this than something you would do at a college course?
100%. Because the takeaway is huge. The takeaway is the experience that resonates with you, the connections, and then that knowledge, and that's the key. Because then you know how to apply it.
So it's not just like information. There's actual. You think when you go back to Ohio after this, there's applicable things like you're ready to start doing differently or a way to think differently?
I mean, right now, even the way I live here, I mean, just waking up right away with energy, jumping out of bed, like just being around people like you motivates you. It literally makes you feel like weak if you don't do that stuff. And you have to, like, survival, you have to keep up with your competition. I mean, I don't see you as competition, but you're another human being. So, I try to keep up with that. So I think that's good. But yeah, for sure, being here, just that knowledge and takeaway is huge. And for me, maybe someone else is not going to see that benefit, but for me, it's like blatant. That's like, as soon as I saw the opening, I jumped on it right away.
So it's worth it?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. All right, bro. Now, we're going to get Ethan over here.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
Now I'm here with Ethan Koenig. Ethan, would you say best friends with Aiden?
I mean,
They're good friends.
Good friends.
They're good friends. They've known each other for a long time. Yeah. Like, how long would you say?
3 years.
3 years. So, I mean, 3 years. It's a long time to have a friend. And they're both from, like, the same area in Ohio. And now Ethan actually joined DDM, like, a couple years ago. Like, an original time when it was first coming out, like one of the first versions. And Aiden said that, like, you put him on to, like, our stuff.
Yeah.
And now they're both here at the same time, which is amazing. But Ethan, look, I've seen you around here the past couple of days. Like Noah said earlier, you're always smiling. I think you're a cool dude. I think you're a happy dude. Would you say you're a happy guy?
Yeah.
And what do you do back home in Ohio?
Well, there's not a lot to do back in Ohio.
But, like, are you in school? You have a job? What's the background?
I have a job right now. I'm working at Amazon.
Okay.
So.
Like in a warehouse?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Not really, but.
It pays the bills for now?
Yeah.
Do you live on your own?
Nope.
Okay. So what do you spend the money on?
Well, I save most of it. And then food, of course, going out with friends.
Yeah. And what is, like, your dream? Like, you're working at Amazon now. You're in DDM and you're doing different things because I see you doing different things. You sent it to me. What is your dream? What do you really want to do?
To build a successful business and of course, inspire people.
And do you know, like, growing up from where you're from or any of your family members or friends, do you know that, like, they have a successful business? Is that why you've wanted that or was something else?
My mom has a successful business and I think that played a pretty big role growing up. Always seeing her work her butt off and just it inspired me to do the same thing.
And when you see her, like, working and she has a business, like, but what about it made you, like, this is something I want to do too? She has freedom. And you want the same thing?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there, like, a certain age where you, like, kind of had this realization in your mind? It doesn't have to be exact, but or was it more recent?
Yeah, I'd say around 15 I started getting into all that. Like I started doing drop shipping and then that kind of went south. So I kind of looked for a similar but different business model and that's when I found you.
Yeah, so you really just started exploring, like, different online ways of different business. But did you ever start anything before, like anything weird, like a landscaping company or anything else?
I did try this one thing. It was actually my dad's idea. So you know how all mailboxes, they have the little stickers of the address. I would go around to houses that were, the stickers were worn out, and I would go up to their door and say, pay me $20 and I'll replace the stickers for you.
And you sold some?
Yeah.
Nice. Why'd you stop?
I wasn't consistent. I don't know. Just stop.
It's probably not like a fun thing to do, I guess, like door-to-door sales. But I mean, you're learning skill sets at the same time, and those are things that, like, develop into bigger things over time. And I mean, that just reminded me of a cool story. Maybe we could talk about, like, after when it comes to, like, mailboxes. But with where you're at, like, right now in this position, I mean, living in Ohio, you obviously have good company. You have your friend Aiden here, and you guys are back there. Like, are you guys, like, oddballs out, or you guys have other friends you hang out with, or?
Not really.
So, like, but there's not other people in your group. Like, I'm just trying to figure out with your group back home, Like, are people supportive of this idea of you wanting to build a business and be successful?
Not really. Like a lot of my friends, they went to school, so they don't really have an open mind about like becoming an entrepreneur. They're all full on into school.
Does anybody ever talk shit?
Not really.
That's good. That's good. And what are you doing right now outside of your work? Like, you want to build a successful business. What are you doing outside of, Amazon with your extra time?
Well, I'm trying to learn as much as I can with DDM. I'm in the inner circle, so I'm just trying to expand on my knowledge and, build a successful brand.
And how has that been so far?
It's been pretty good. I haven't seen too many results, but I'm learning.
It's difficult?
A little bit.
Slow?
Yeah, slow.
What do you think causes that?
Being inconsistent.
You think it's only that, or it's like there's other things too, like maybe I guess the way I could spin it is like earlier you asked me a good question, right? Like,
Yeah.
what question did you ask me?
How to avoid a burnout.
Yeah, so Ethan, I don't want to steal the spotlight, but Ethan, like, I've seen him, he'll ask questions, he'll ask me stuff. He's always trying new things and like related to digital dropshipping and posting. And he asked me today, like, it was just me and him in the room, and he's like, how do you avoid burnout? And I was just thinking, like, the instant thought that came to my mind for like a person in a situation where like you had your foundation, you're young as well. How old are you?
18.
18 years old, and you have this vision of being successful. You've taken some risks, and you're working on digital dropshipping. My very first thing to my mind is how to avoid burnout. Okay, if he's asking me that question, he's probably feeling like burnt out of like doing something over and over. Is that right? Or
Yeah, I've definitely felt it before. When I first started out, I was trying to post as much content as I can. Sitting at the computer for hours on end. It just like doing that every day. It makes me feel burnt out.
yeah, and I could understand that completely. And that's why I think the answer that I told you was like the first thing that came to mind is like, be open to trying new things that you find some interest in. Maybe that's like trying a new niche or trying like a new style of page, something that you're more interested in. Maybe that's trying something completely different. Maybe that's going back to the mailboxes, But like being open to the idea of trying new, because like at this point you're at is like the best point you're gonna ever be at, where like you have like the least amount of liabilities and things or people that depend on you, where you can take these massive risks and jumps. And like it's almost like a good time to have the shiny ball syndrome, because the things that are at stake, like you're putting actual effort into them. You're giving them a shot. You're asking questions to see how to do it better. And like that was my answer on like how to like avoid that burnout. Because if you ask it, that's how you feel. And I don't want you to feel that way, because if you feel that way, then you're like, it's going to be hard to produce the result and like put the effort in consistently. So I know like with whatever it is, you're going to succeed, and I want to be there for you. I want to be there watching too, because I know you're going to do it. And I don't know, like what's one thing that if people watching this right now, what should they know about you? What's like one thing they should know about you, Ethan?
I'm passionate.
What are you passionate about?
Becoming an entrepreneur and building a successful business.
I think you already are. Like you're not even becoming, you already are an entrepreneur. You're doing it. It's just a matter of time of catching up to like the results. You're finding the right vehicle, doing it. You got good company, and I'm excited for you to still be a part of everything we're doing. However I can help you, I want to be there for you.
I appreciate it.
But what's maybe like a weird thing that we should know about you? Like what's something that I don't know about you?
I don't know.
Maybe one day we'll find out.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be right now. But do you have anything maybe you want to say to anybody watching right now that maybe is in like a similar position?
Yeah, I'd say the best time to start is now.
I like that. That's cool. What do you think about the mastermind?
It's been good. It inspires me to be able to network with a bunch of like-minded individuals that have seen results.
Have you been to something like this before?
Never.
So what made you decide to want to come here as well?
I mean, this is what I want to do, so invested the money and came to learn more.
Now, I'm going to ask like a kind of a personal question, at least when it comes to finances. You don't have to answer, but I don't think it's too much of like a curveball. But like for the amount of money you spent for this mastermind, which is, how much was it?
$2,000.
$2,000. Yeah. How much time would you have to spend working like at Amazon to earn that amount?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
So any of you guys out there, like you guys make a lot more money than that, and you're able to take these risks and invest into yourself to shortcut the processes. And then you're not doing it, but then you have people like Ethan who are just like trying to figure it out, and they're willing to take the risk and like 3 weeks of work that I'm sure is not easy work. It's physical labor.
Yeah.
You know, to take that risk plus more traveling here and other whatever miscellaneous costs. Like that's a big thing that, you know, not many people, even adults don't do that. Even adults that make decent money, that they could do it without working for 3 weeks. So I think you should be proud of yourself for even taking that risk. And for me, I'm just like, man, like I'm kind of like, fuck, this guy had to work 3 weeks for that. But at the same time, I'm like, this is a good place for him to be, not just because of me, but because of everybody else here that can be there to support you and over time. So Ethan, thank you for being here, bro.
Thanks for having me.
And you're an awesome guy.
I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Okay, now I am here with Aaron Phell. Pronounce it correctly?
That is correct.
Perfectly?
Perfectly.
Now, the interesting thing here with Aaron is Aaron is not from DDM. He didn't just message me on Instagram and show up here. Aaron actually has a very interesting story, which you're going to hear in a second. But we actually met at another mastermind. Earlier this year, I was invited by a mutual friend, Devin, and I went out there on the boat and ended up meeting all these people, and it was great. And Aaron was one of those people, and since then, like, we follow each other on Instagram, and I saw him like just posting and documenting his journey like on Instagram stories, and I started to learn more about it, and I found it to be very interesting. Now, before I ask any questions about background, can you just tell the people, like, what do you do right now, just as of right now?
So right now I'm in high ticket sales.
Got it. So high ticket sales, and the way you make money is by?
I close deals and I collect cash.
Perfect. And you do it like Zoom calls, phone
Yeah,
calls?
so basically I just hop on a Zoom call and I collect cash and close deals.
And it's mostly like inbound leads people are booking, or you do outbound?
Mainly inbound.
Nice. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you like that?
It's about like 8 out of 10 right now.
And now let's compare that to what you were doing before. On a 1 to 10, what was that?
What I was doing before was like a 1 out of 10.
And what was that? What were you actually doing?
So I was doing construction and I did that for about like 5 years.
And where are you from?
I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan, which is in Canada. Nobody knows where that is.
Well, I do now. But tell me a little bit more, because this is what I found very intriguing about your story. A lot of people nowadays, people our age, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25, so early 20s, and even younger than that. A lot of people aren't into doing like blue collar work as much, and it's something that's very, very difficult. And in your case, did it pay well or no?
I mean, it didn't pay horrible, but it wasn't enough to where I felt satisfied with what I was doing.
So why would you say it was a 1.5? What was so bad about it?
Mainly just like being away from home. Like I'd work like 6-7 months straight. We'd do 24 and 4 shifts, working like 12 to 15 hours a day. And it was just like no time to myself, no time for self-development, no time for family. I missed probably like 3 or 4 Christmases in a row. Just like little things that compound over time.
And I mean, those are like important things. Like that's serious time away from family, especially like in your early 20s. Like that's the one thing we can't get back is our time, and especially our early 20s. So like what I'm thinking about now, like if I was just watching this, I had no idea who this guy is. I'm wondering, like, you know, how has there been this like massive shift? Like we're here in Puerto Rico right now. You came all the way here from Canada, and you were doing construction not that long ago, it seems. How did that shift even start?
Honestly, it was a couple years of building myself up for the mindset and, you know, just like self-studying of online business. How do I upgrade my current character? And then it all just came down to a decision where I was just like, okay, do I want my next 6 months to look like the past 6 months, or do I actually want to do something? In November of 2024, bought my first online course, shout out Closer Cartel. And then I pretty much just went all in and quit my job and lived off savings until this point, and now I'm doing like 5K a month right now.
It was last year you did Closer Cartel? Nice. So, but like during that time, you already knew though you didn't want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You knew there was going to be a shift. Like you're exploring different things online and then investing into Closer Cartel, which isn't a cheap program. How much is it?
It was 3.1K when I bought it.
So you took that risk, that investment. How did it feel like right after?
Honestly, it felt really good. It was a small step towards like where I am now, but like at the time, I think I had like 10K in savings. So I mean, 3.1K was a lot of money still, but I just knew like I had to go all in. Like I didn't really have a choice.
And how were you able to? I mean, it's been like about a year now since you took that risk there, but did you immediately just stop working the construction stuff?
So basically, I quit my job and I lived off savings. So I had about like 7K left in savings. Bank account went negative for a long time. Ultimately, I got closer to God and, you know, just like really leaned on faith and just knowing like that this would work. So I just gave it everything I have and now I'm here.
And you feel like you're like, this is where you want to be at, this is good, or this is like the beginning of your journey, or what would you say?
I think this is just the beginning of my journey. Obviously, like learning more about digital dropshipping and other business models, which I'm now intrigued in. It's definitely just the beginning of where I can, you know, like cash stack and ultimately build up to where I want to be.
Where do you want to be?
I want to be making at least like 7 figures a month, like 5 to 10 years down the line.
That's big. And you told me yesterday, we were talking about this a little bit more, but there's like you want to do something more than just sales, right?
I ultimately want to build a brand. I don't really know what or how I'm going to do it, but I know that in my heart, that's what I want.
Aaron, I think you're a special guy. I think you're gonna fucking crush it, and you're gonna do it because, like, just the past that you have, things you've already like been through, experienced, and you've already put yourself in the right position to, like, you know, take that risk last year, learn a skill set, follow through with it, go through like that time of just like you said, the negative bank account, and now you have a skill set that, you know, you can always fall back on, but it's something that can make you money, and that's what you're doing now. You're doing it now. You're stacking cash. As the brand is in your mind, you're gonna think of it. You're gonna put it together. I think you're gonna crush it, and I mean, I'm excited for you, bro.
I am too.
What would you say to anybody who's in construction right now and they're like, I'm tired of these dirty hands?
Honestly, I just say like look at where you are right now and draw a line of where you want to be, and then ultimately just take the risk. I mean, it's 100% worth it. You're going to go through a lot of shit, but it's better than working 12, 14-hour days.
Hell yeah. Can I ask you a couple questions about the mastermind?
Yeah, 100%.
So, Aaron, how much did you spend to come to the mastermind here?
In total, is about like 3K, including flights and the mastermind ticket.
All the way from Canada?
Yeah.
And has it been worth it?
100%.
Why?
Well, because I get to hang out with you again, but ultimately it was just like being around like-minded people. I've met a lot of cool people here, meeting Dan, and just ultimately like being surrounded by entrepreneurs who are on the same path, who are on the same mission, and ultimately just want to better themselves is always a good space.
And I know that, like, you signed up for the mastermind. I think you were actually the first person that paid for a spot. Like when we first announced it, I think you were the very first one.
Interesting.
And then like a few weeks in, something was going on, and there was like maybe a chance that you weren't going to come. Like, what was going through your mind at that point?
I think I was getting a little bit of cold feet, and it was like something Dan was talking about where you want to do something, but there's voices in your head that are telling you not to do it. So the next day I just said, something in me is just telling me that I have to go. So I just like forced myself to go, bought my plane ticket like 2 weeks out, and I was like, I don't have any other choice.
I'm super glad you came. I mean, you learned some things from some people. It's been fun.
Has been fun.
Perfect. Would you do it again?
100%. I think you should do this more often.
I appreciate the feedback, bro. I just got Sebastian out of bed. He was tucking in, eyes closed, because it's late. It's like 12:30 at night. But Sebastian was like, you know what? For you, Tanner, I'm going to get up.
Everything.
Anything you need. He put on the whole outfit. He did his hair. He's looking all good now, and we're sitting here. We have a few minutes with one of the most special people ever in this world. To me, is Sebastian. Now, Sebastian's from Chile, so the way that I originally met and even knew of who he was he joined DDM. He was one of the first people, like an hour after Jay, who you saw a little bit ago, joined DDM. Sebastian did. I started seeing him in the community. He's doing some things, but you know, on Discord, it's kind of hard. Like, you can't really tell because like people have different names on Discord. They don't have pictures usually, and just kind of saw this person around there, and then this person starts posting results. Then he just kind of disappears for a little bit, and then he comes back with just like some crazy results. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And long story short, he's done a lot of amazing things since then, and I've got to know him as a person and really like I feel like build our relationship, and I understand like what he values, and he's just like an amazing, cool guy. So Sebastian, can you just say to the people that are watching this right now first, like, what do you do now?
What I do now?
Yeah, what do you do?
My business is like coaching people like in e-commerce.
En español?
En español, in Chile.
And I think that's one thing that's like pretty unique about what he does, because if you could just say a little bit of like in your email flow, you know, you have this story, right?
Yeah.
Give me like a summary for like the people.
Well, I started like a quick story. I started like in the e-com space like 4 years ago, I think. I like had like success doing like dropshipping and all that stuff. And then I wanted to teach other people how to do it. I started with your course, also with another like Brazilian course. I just like mixed them up, and then I just follow. I was like speaking with you like in the DDM Discord, everything. And yeah, I started seeing results, selling this like low ticket product. And then I said like, okay, I have to like keep like advancing. Like many people sometimes just like choose like one course or one mentor and then they don't do anything else. And that's when you didn't heard of me, because like I started with you and then I also like started like learning from other places, and I came back, and I think that's very important. Like one thing, like from different mentors you can be like learning different or stacking skills, and that's a very like important concept, I think, like because probably with one course you're not gonna be like a millionaire or anything like that, but by buying courses and meeting people and mentoring and flying to Miami when you invited me to the mastermind the year ago, the last year, you just like stack different skills, different like mindsets. And right now, well, yeah, it's 1 year after when we met in Miami. It's completely different, the business, just like the whole team. When I was in Miami, it was only me doing everything. Now we're like 12 people. So we created like a more robust company out of it. And I know that there's a long way to go. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
You're crushing it. You've made a lot of progress at like a pretty quick pace, like for what most people, you know, would normally see. And I think, at least from my perspective, one of the biggest reasons why I think that has happened is not because of like some like little secret or some little trick or like, oh, this guy has an advantage. The
Consistencia gana.
Consistencia gana. More importantly, what you said, like you have been a person since I've known you and we built that relationship, is that like you have always gone and done more, like gone and learned from different people and learned different things, not being afraid to like spend and invest big amounts of money into getting to that next level. So there's really like no reason, nobody can look at you and say, man, you know what, he's just lucky.
Yep.
Or like this or that, because you have done these other steps, and I look at it and it's like it's very respectable and it's very like exciting for me to see, because I even forgot to mention like the whole Miami like giveaway mastermind thing like over a year ago at our buddy Noah's event. But I even remember at that time when we went to lunch at like this Cuban restaurant, and we were just talking about what you're doing, and you were talking about how like you had paid this mentor, this coach who was like teaching you this certain strategy for like boosting things like on Instagram. And just even then I was like, I already knew at that point, because you're already going out and continue to invest. You didn't just like do one thing. Listen, you go and go and go. Even before then, like I just want to touch quickly on before starting the e-com store and stuff. What was the reason why you want to do this to begin with? Any of this?
Yeah, I think like my whole life I've liked doing like entrepreneurs things, like selling things. I always had this like objective of being like, I don't know if my own boss, but doing stuff that I like. So when I got out of college, I just like started working as an investment analyst, like very traditional job in the bank, in the like finance industry. And I liked it a lot, but like 2-3 years like working there, I said like, nah, this can't be my life. Like I want to have like time for my kids, for traveling, to do other stuff. And yeah, I like this, but I'm spending like from Monday to Friday every day. In Chile, it's not 9 to 5, it's like 9 to 7. So after 7, I can do the stuff that I like sports, working on my dropshipping stores back then. So I started like looking for different stuff, always doing different stuff.
but never really invested in like my own knowledge until when I started, it just like my chip or my mindset like completely changed.
I like the chip.
Yeah, the chip concept. Right now I can't stop like investing on, like each year I'm investing more and more on mentors, more on, not courses. Right now it's like more mentorships and stuff like that. Because people say like why would you pay someone like 20K or 30K for a mentorship if you can like get a 30% return on that like each month on your business? You can pay it like in a couple of months, and then you can like keep on stacking over that with other mentors. So yeah, right now is always like, I think it's important also that just like to see like in what part of your business or what like stage of your business you're in right now, to see what's the next maybe bottleneck or mentor that's gonna help you solve that bottleneck. So there are like many mentors that help people like in an early stage, for example, how you did with me, like with the course and everything. And then probably you'll have, I don't know, other offers for other stages of like the different businesses. So this year, for example, for me, it's been like creating a team, systems, SOPs. Probably next year is gonna be other stuff. But yeah, investing in me has been like far like the best return on that I've ever gotten. Like, because you can spend invest in the S&P 500 and you'll get what, 10% each year, average. And here you can spend like 1K, 2K in a mentor and you can return that like in a couple of months, you can like be doubling that, or it depends on you. That's the thing. Like, it's not like giving the money away, you have to like put the work. But if you do it, I think there's no excuses to like really change your life and do things that you like. And I think that's the most important part of it. Like, it's not like the money, it's like that you like what you're doing, and if you're doing like 2K or 5K or 10 or whatever, if you like what you're doing and you keep on investing and learning like what's the next stage and invest on it, I think there's no reason like to be wherever you want in 10, 20 years.
Upgrading the chip.
Yeah.
One question that I wanted to ask, just because I was curious, like out of all these different mentors and things you've invested to, what would you say weighs heavier in terms of the benefit you get? Do you think it's more, you get more mentally out of it by making this big of a commitment, and like it mentally helps you level up by just like spending more time and hearing from these people that are doing these things? Or is it more of like the specific strategies or like technical things you get out of it? I'm just curious.
I think it's both worlds. Like, when I buy a mentorship, I'm asking for like tactical or strategies that are going to boost my business. But in events like this, for example, or masterminds or events or networking, that's where I'm looking more for like the mindset rather than strategies. So yeah.
So in the interview part, we're talking a lot about upgrading the chips and investing into things. And I really wanted you to come here to this mastermind because I wanted to be here because I think you're a very valuable person. And like now I'm learning things from, and I'm asking you questions because you're doing things that now I'm working on and want to do. So I'm glad you came here, and I want to ask, how has it been the past couple of days at the masterminds? Worth it?
Yeah, totally. As I was saying before, like for me, masterminds are just like you always like get different, like, I don't know if it's not strategies, but like different ways of thinking, not because if you're doing, I don't know, 100K per month and someone is doing 15, that you can learn from him. Like, there are different things that you can learn from someone that is just starting. And there's also guys here in the mastermind that are in other levels. So for me, the masterminds I'm trying to learn stuff, but I'm mostly concentrated on like creating relationships, networking, being here, like helping you. It's like a way of also like, I always say like, if I were a student, I always like try to be like a case study or the best like student. And when they ask me for like, can I have you an interview or something like that, I always say yes, because that's where you like, the mentor like gets you in his inner circle. And I try to say the same to my students, like the masterminds, all of those events are for like creating and like real relationships that maybe in 5 or 10 years, you can create like whole new businesses out of that. I think Noah said in his mastermind, like one thing is the front end ROI of learning a tactic, but the other is like the back end ROI, return on investment. But yeah, the back end ROI is like maybe in 5-10 years, maybe we can be business partners in 10 years.
Learn Spanish.
Exactly. Or with maybe an Australian guy or a Swiss guy, so I think that's like the valuable things in masterminds. It's just like to know people of other countries, other businesses, other thought processes, other things. So yeah, totally recommend it. I think it's the best things you can do apart from investing on courses or mentors. It's just like going and meet the other people in real life. That's where I think you create like the true relationships and bonds.
So when's the Chile Mastermind?
Ooh.
And am I invited?
Yeah, of course.
I paid full price and testimonial.
Maybe I was like the fastest guy that paid you the mastermind. Like you said, like I was. I'm doing like. Let me check out.
Yeah, you're pretty easy close. But that, like everything you just said, it's like being the customer that you would want in your own business is something that to me, that's how I perceive like the thing that you're explaining. I try to think of the same way, like just being, because how can I expect someone to do something and be that person for me or like in my business if I'm not being that person in someone else's.
Exactly.
So thank you for your time, Papa. Thank you for coming. Te quiero mucho. Te amo mucho. Buenas noches.
Noches.